Hey everyone, my name is Mary Copeland. I am your professor for the semester, and I'm going to show you how to navigate the course and where everything's at. And I'll share my screen with you in a minute. Before I do that, I want to show you the textbooks for the class. So this is our textbook, Asking the Right Questions, and you will need this right away. There's a quiz on the textbook this week. And the reason it's so quick is because this is only an 8-week class. It was late start. So instead of a 16-week class, we're doing it in 8 weeks. So we sort of have to double up on everything to get everything done. But the good news is that we're part of the Books Plus program. So your books are free. So when you log into Canvas, you should see a message there about getting your books. If you're having trouble getting the books, let me know. And so you'll need this book right away. We do exercises every week from the textbook. The other book you're going to need is Just Mercy. So this is the novel that we're reading, and it's a novel about the criminal justice system and particularly how it disproportionately affects people of color, young people, and the poor. So it's a really great book, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. And we'll kind of look at the criminal justice system this semester and have some discussions about it. So those are the two books. We don't start reading the book till the second week. So if you don't get this one the first week, that's fine, but you do need the other textbook the first week. Okay, I'm going to share my screen with you, and we will talk about the class. So this is what the class looks like when you first log in. And a couple things I want to tell you about is over here on the right-hand side is your to-do list. This always has, new announcements. It's got any assignments that are due. And I know a lot of students like to just click on that and do the assignment. And I think it's a great reminder so that you don't forget. But it's not the only thing you need to do. For example, discussions always have two due dates, but Canvas only allows us to put in one due date for assignments. So the discussions will always show Sunday, but the initial post in your discussions is always due on Thursday. So that's something to keep in mind. The other thing I'll show you is the modules. So the modules is where every week I'll post a new module. It'll give you readings, it'll give you lectures, handouts, whatever we're doing, that's where you will do everything. If there's a quiz, you'll take the quiz in the modules. If there's an assignment to upload, you'll upload it in the modules. So let me click on that. Also in the modules, so I have a student resources and reading schedule. Student resources, I have links to the Writing Center. I have links to student support services. So if you need any of those links are there. Student office hours, if you need to come see me during office hours, the links to those are there. That is Mondays from 10 to 12 and Thursdays from 3 to 4. And then the reading and exercise schedule. So this is how you know to keep up with whatever chapters we should be reading every week. So here it says, okay, you need, the first week, we're going to have a quiz on the first 2 chapters of Asking the Right Questions. And then the second week, you have to read the introduction through the second chapter of Just Mercy, and then Asking the Right Questions, chapters 3 to 4. So you can always check with that to make sure you're up to date on where you should be on the readings. The other part is a lot of information on MLA, information resources. All of your essays have to be in MLA format, which includes, it's more than just margins and headings. It's documenting your sources, citing your sources. I have a lot of resources. If you've never done MLA citation, it might be a challenge for you. And so I've got samples, I've got videos, all kinds of resources on how to put your paper in MLA format. I also have a couple of videos on comma splices and run-ons because it tends to be one of the most common problems in essays. I also have a video on using academic voice. We'll talk about that later. So your first week, there's a lot going on. There is a quiz on the syllabus. I do that because I have trouble getting students to actually look at the syllabus otherwise. So I do a little quiz, but there's no surprises. You can go back and forth and look at the questions. I'd like you to do an introduction. Then there's a couple of discussions, one on biases, another one on a TED Talk, which is kind of leading into our first essay, which is about images and how images impact our society. You actually get to pick your own image that you want to analyze for your essay. That's not due till the following week, but the assignment is up there. So I know some students like to, I always give 2 weeks to write essays. So that gives you time to use the Writing Center if you like. So keep that in mind. So this is where all your assignments will be in the modules. Announcements, I'll post a new announcement every week. Sometimes I post a midweek announcement, so you want to be sure and go there. In my announcement, I put, click on it really quick. So this is our welcome to week 1. My announcements always include whatever assignments are due. And, if there's any information that you need to know. I often put a link to the announcement on the homepage as well. Syllabus. So here's the syllabus. I have individual links here, so you can click on each one. I recommend checking your email once a day, just in case I have a question. Maybe there's something about the assignment that you turned in that I wasn't sure about, so I might have a question for you. So you want to be sure and do that. And I'm not going to go through everything here in the syllabus. One thing I do want to point out is how much time will this class take? I think I have that in the modules too, but I really like to impress upon students that, this is, excuse me, a 4-unit class, but it's compressed into 8 weeks instead of 16. So in a regular week, you'd have 4 hours of class that you'd have to go to campus and do your 4 hours of class. And then you're also expected to do a certain amount of outside of class time, like reading or writing essays. So that's a total of 12 hours a week to be successful, but that's in a 16-week. Since we're doing this class in 8 weeks, that's about 24 hours a week. I think a good gauge is 20 to 24 hours a week to think about, how much time. And I really think that varies. During crunch time, when you're trying to write your research paper, it might be more. Other weeks, it might be less, but it's a good guide to think about. And, every student's different. Some students read more quickly. Some students read more slowly. So everybody has their own, working style and learning style. Let me go back to the syllabus. And then here's other important information that you'll look up when you take the quiz. Late work policy, attendance. The discussion guidelines are really important. You want to be sure you follow the discussion guidelines when you post your discussion. That gives the word links and the peer responses and those things. The other thing I want to mention is college level material. So, the novel that we're reading, Just Mercy, it's about the prison system. So, it's not always pretty. There are stories of violence, of abuse, sexual abuse, drugs. And so, I always tell students, it's kind of R-rated. If that's a problem for you, I totally understand. You just might want to take a different class because I can't change the assignments based on that. Etiquette, read the guidelines about being respectful to your peers in class, particularly in the discussions. And you can read the other stuff, but and you can just click on each link and it takes you to the information on that particular one. Here's how to get into Office 365. If you don't already have Office 365, you are allowed to get it for free as a student, so that's great. Oh, the one thing I do want to talk about really quickly is important dates. So this class is, short term. So we have our first day of class, but the last day to drop is just a week later. It's October 26th. So, I mean, if you get in the class and you just feel like it's too overwhelming, you can't get it done, the last day to drop without anything on your transcript is the 26th. If you hang on for a while and then decide to drop, you can still do that. The last day to withdraw with a W on your record is the 19th. And then our last day of class is December 13th. I think that's a Monday. Other things to know, student resources right here. This is if you need technological help, all kinds of things like that. Otherwise, I kind of think that's everything you need to know just to get started. You can always email me if you have any questions, or come to the office hours. I'm available. I will usually get back to you within 24 hours. I think I say 48 to be fair, but usually it's less than 24. I check my email several times a day. The weekend, it might be a little slower. I'm not as quick to respond on a Sunday. And the thing is, assignments are due on Sundays. So, my advice there, I'm going to stop sharing. But my advice on that is I always have assignments due Sunday nights. But the first discussion is always due on Thursday, but everything else is always due on Sunday nights. So if you wait till the last minute to even read the assignment and then you have questions about it and you email me, Sunday at, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I may not respond. So, my advice is read the assignments at the beginning of the week so you know what's in store, what you have to get done. And then also that way, if you need me to answer a question, I can do that in plenty of time for you to get the assignment done. Other than that, I think that's it. Have a great semester. I look forward to virtually meeting you, and let me know if you have any questions.